Hey guys, welcome to my new video series where I'll be building practical applications of AI automations. This is the first video of the series, so I'm really excited. What we have here is a resume screener which I built, and I was honestly skeptical at first when I was building it, as I was not sure if it's going to be able to output accurate responses consistently, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when I started testing it, as it works really well. And yeah, I'm just excited to share it with you guys. To measure the success of these kind of systems, I look at two things. Like, in my opinion, these two criteria are really important. The first one is whether or not the system is able to generate logical output, as in it's able to resemble what a human would if we weren't to automate this particular process. And the second one is to do that consistently. And this system here, so far as from what I observe, actually passes these two criteria, and I haven't seen it fail yet. And this is what we're going to be looking at together today. We'll actually be testing its consistency as well. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. Okay, and here for this video we have 4 different resumes, as you can see, one of them being mine, by the way, from like over 2.5 years ago. And then we have these 3 here that I created for this video. And here we have this configuration field where we can pass in the job description, right? You can add everything regarding the job here. So we have the job title and then key responsibilities and stuff. So in this case, we have a job opening for .NET and React. .NET is the backend language, while React is a front-end framework, for those of you who don't know. And then here we have additional details. Of course, I used AI to generate this, right? Next field we have here in this configuration node is priority parameters, which is super cool in my opinion. This basically gives you control over how the resumes get graded. So you can see that we have different kind of priorities, right? So technical skills, and you're able to rate this from 0 to 10 based on their priority for this particular job opening. And the other cool thing is you can add new fields here, and the system will be able to incorporate it dynamically and follow a particular formula, which I'll be showing you in a bit, right? So this thing here is a game changer in my opinion, and just makes this so much cooler. And then we have number of iterations, which we'll be looking at in a bit when I start explaining the workflow to you guys. But before that, let's go ahead and take a look at what we already have, right? I already ran this whole thing once, so we already have a generated output for each of these resumes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run these resumes again, not only once but twice, so that we will have 8 more rows here corresponding to 3 outputs for each of these resumes, so that we can actually assess the consistency of the grading, right? So we have the scoring here, and let's take a look at what the score is like. So as I said, we have these 4 resumes, okay? And the first one is John Doe. John Doe got 53, and the reason is, let's take a look at the reason, is a seasoned software engineer with over 5 years of experience, right? Despite having 5 years of experience, John was still only scored at 53. And the reason is because his proficiency is in Node.js and Angular, while in our case, we're looking for a React and .NET developer. And because in our priority parameters, we assigned a high value for this factor here, it affected the grading for John, and it's actually really accurate and it's appropriate, right? The second person we have here is Jane Smith, and she scored a staggering 90.3. And the reason to this time is because I actually specifically designed her resume to match the job description. I passed in the job description to ChatGPT and told it to create a resume for me in HTML that actually fits the criteria. And then this third person we have is Alice Johnson. She got 9.2, and again is absolutely appropriate. The reason to that is because she's not even a developer, but she's actually a graphics designer. So 9.2 is what she deserves, may even be a bit higher than what she should have, since this is a totally different expertise, right? And then we have the legend himself, me, Mahmoud, with 74.4. And here is the reasoning to why I got it. And I honestly agree, right? Compared when I look at my resume. Now, since that we already ran this and we already have an output for each of these, let's actually run it again, right? So that we can see if it's able to resemble both the scoring and the order of these resumes. And once we run it, I want to run it again so that we can clearly see how it's performing. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into it. For the first resume, I want to actually run it by using the test trigger here, so that we can actually see what's going on in the workflow, how it processes it, right? And for the other 3, I'm just gonna be activating this workflow here and let it do its thing, and we'll look at the results. And for now, I'm not gonna explain in detail what's going on, but I'll just go over it as it progresses through the workflow, right? Once we're done looking at the examples and looking at the results, I'll I'll actually start explaining to you the workflow and the nodes within them one by one so that you can understand how this whole thing works. And if you also notice, we have these two design patterns from one of my previous videos on effective AI agents. I'm using two of them here. One of them is this one here, which is the voting variant of parallelization, and the other one is the evaluator and optimizer pattern. And what I noticed as I was building this was how simple it was actually to just implement it into the system by copying and pasting it here directly, almost like it's a template. Actually, it basically acts as a template. I just had to update the content within, but the blueprint was pretty much ready. So I realized how time saver it is, and just wanted to let you guys know if you haven't thought about it, because I actually didn't until I started working on this workflow here. With that said, if you're new to this channel and you want to get your hands on these resources here, both this and also the one for in this video, you can just go to my Skool community where I post all the resources I show in my videos. You can just head on to the YouTube video and resources section, right? It's completely free, by the way. We are around 1,500 people. Just like I said, go to the YouTube video resources section, click on the video that you want access to the resources of, and you will find it attached to it. In this case, we have rag.json, which is from my previous video where I built contextual rag. And yeah, for this workflow here, for example, you can just head over to that video post, right? That video's post, and just get your hands on it. And if you want to import it into your workflow, it's really simple. Just click on it, download it. Once you're done downloading it, the only thing you'll have to do is go to your workflow, and then you'll see these three dotted button here. Just click on that and then click on import from file and select the file that you just downloaded. So we have effective agentic workflow. I'm gonna actually click on that and I'm gonna open it. Let's see what happens. It should just import it directly. And yeah, as you can see, we got it here in it, right? Obviously, it would help if you create a new workflow. And this is how simple it is for you to just import the workflows I show in my video. And with that out of the way, let's just get to testing. So for this, we have a Gmail trigger because I wanted to simulate email-based application, right? And here I have this draft ready. I'm just gonna go ahead and send John Doe's resume quickly, and let's see what happens. Let me just first send it, and once I'm sure that it's in the inbox, and yes, we do, so I'm just gonna go ahead now and actually start testing it. And let's remember what we have here, right? So it's 53. Let's see what the result is going to be this time. I'm honestly nervous, but I'm really confident in how well it's going to work. So without further ado, let's just go. All right, so you can see that we are starting to process it. We went through the HTML extractor route, right? And then now we are in the evaluator and optimizer part, where we're gonna extract the relevant information, actually all the information, in a structured manner to make it easier for the agents to grade the resumes, okay? And you can see that we hit a problem with the grade parser, but no problem. We have a setting that's going to retry on fail, so this shouldn't be a problem. It will be able to fix its own problem. So now we wait. It usually, by the way, takes around a minute for a single resume to be processed, right? I'm not sure why. Oh, it is not failing. It's just, it looks like it's failing because it failed previously, so it just remains there. But otherwise it's working. All right, we already have 2 items. The reason, by the way, as you notice, what's happening here is, let me just quickly explain this. So we have this configuration here, and I showed you the number of iterations, right? This thing specifies the number of times each of these models going to actually review the same resume. So as you see here, we have these resumes reviewed by these individual LLMs 2 times, and now we have the result. Are you guys ready? Let's just first check the voting merge first, right? Okay, 53, and I'm not sure from, I think it's from OpenAI. So 53, 37, and then we got 52, 58, 58, and yeah, that's pretty much all the results. And let's see what the overall score is, right? I'm going to head over to the table, and let's wait for the new row to be added. And there you go, guys. We got 51.8 when at first we got 53.3. So that's not even a 2 points difference, and I'm all for that. You know, like this is super cool in my opinion, and it's just accurate, man. Like that's what I think makes this system really cool. So we have the similar reasoning again, right? It's a detail-oriented software engineer with over 5-year experience, and it also includes the Node.js and Angular part, right? It's gonna say the same thing. So we can definitely call that a success. So let's take a look at the distiller agent, or the summary actually, right? So in the summary, we got the overall score and the combined reasoning of these models, right? Where we have 6 of them. And the reason we have 6 of them, like I said, is because we have number of iterations set to 2, where each of these model individually will process the same resume twice to make the output more grounded and less variable, right? We're trying to find the average for each of these models. So it's up to us the number of iterations we want to include. But as you notice here, we have 3 different models, by the way, that's grading this resume. And I think this is also what makes it really cool. And the fact that they're able to together collectively generate a consistent result is just insane to watch, to say the least. But yeah, since we got the first resume out of the way, I am going to activate our workflow now and actually have it process the other 3 resumes that we have. So let's just get to it. So let's prepare these emails quickly, okay? And I'm gonna say resume like that. And then can I add multiple drafts? Alright guys, so I just sent all the emails and now I'm waiting for our workflow to pick those emails up and start processing the resumes. Alright, finally it's starting to process, and you know what, I'm just gonna head over to this table here and fast forward the process for you guys so that you can see them as they get added by our workflow. So just sit back and enjoy. Alright guys, I just refreshed it just to see if it actually is being updated, right? And I saw this one, my resume being processed, and this time it got 74.2, which is insanely close to the one we processed just now. And like I said, I'm honestly just so mind blown by the way it works. Like, it's working really well, right? And now I can't wait for it to actually finish processing the other resumes. And look, Jane just got in and it's 90.6. Previously it was 90.3, and it's still processing. And we only have, I think, how many? 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5. Wait, do we have all of it already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's this empty? Oh, there's an empty space. Not sure why we have this. I'm gonna delete this. All right, let me just remove this one. All right, so we have one more to be processed where we are waiting for it, and that's gonna be Alice Johnson, who got 9.2. But can we just take a moment to appreciate how good how accurate this is? Like, seriously, I get excited talking about it. I feel like this could actually be a product, right? And I'm not claiming anything like some other videos saying, oh, you can sell it for 10,000, but I honestly feel like this could actually be a product. And yeah, I'm just mind blown. Again, 53.3, 51.8, 90.3, 90.6, and 74.4, 74.2. Guys, you judge it, man. Like, all right, and we have one last resume to be processed, and we are waiting for that. All right guys, and we got that one in as well, and as you see, it's 7.1. Again, it's just really accurate in my opinion. The cool thing is it's able to also accurately, like, this part for Alice Johnson is like at the bottom extreme, since she's not even a developer, right? And despite that, it's still not far off from each other. 2 points is nothing. It's extremely accurate in my opinion, right? You wouldn't be able to get this amount of accuracy by a human. Let's actually run this one more time and see what the result is for the 3rd time. All right, let me just refresh this, and just in case, I'm sure you guys believe me, but maybe some people might be like, oh, this guy's, you know, bull crapping, it's not real, he's probably editing it himself. Let's take the result here. So we have the distiller agent and we have all the outputs for us ready. And actually, let's take a look at the summary. You can see we have one being 7.0. This is for Alice. Then the second output was 90.6, accurate, right? And then 74.1, exactly what we have here. Oh, this was rounded up, so 74.16, so it's rounded up to 74.2. So from here you can see that this is actually legit, right? And I'm gonna actually run it one more time so that we can see this. And once we're done, I'm gonna explain to you how this workflow works, so stay tuned. All right, I'm gonna prepare the email really quickly, and I'm gonna copy paste this guy here actually, and even just delete everything just in case, right, to make it more safe. And there we go, we got this one sent as well. Let's hope this gets processed. I think we couldn't make it. It's okay, we'll have 2 different separate executions that's gonna probably process this, and we'll be able to follow it anyway. So yeah, seem to have run okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, we got 2 executions now, which makes sense. It means they're both being processed now, and I'm just excited. Let's see what's gonna happen, guys. Where is the other one now? All right, yeah, we have 2 running parallelly executing. I don't know how many of it in each of them, but we'll see once it's done. All right, guys, so we just got the results of 2 of the candidates, one of them being me. And in this case, it did a great job again with Alice. Absolutely accurate compared to the rest, right? But this one has like a 4 points plus difference between the other. We can call it 5 points difference between the other 2, which is interesting. But I still think it's pretty good, right? And let's see what it's gonna be like for the other 2 that are still being processed. I think one of them might be complete, so if that's the case, can I refresh this? And yes, this time we got 90.5 for Jane. Again, really freaking accurate, dude. 90.3, 90.6, 90.5. It just blows my mind how good this is, guys. Like, seriously, the fact that it's this close is just insane in my opinion, right? I'm gonna refresh and see if we got the other one ready. And nope, it's still being processed. I'm still waiting for that now. And let's see what happens, what that's gonna return as. So for that, we have 53.3, 51.8, and let's see what the third one for it is going to be. By the way, I'm curious why this is 79.1. I feel like this is something we can definitely fix with the number of iterations to. Oh my god, look. So we just got the result from the final resume, and again, it's just insanely accurate. I just can't emphasize on this enough. 53.8, 51.8, 53.3, guys. Like, the only thing that was slightly off in this whole test was my resume, and here too we are not really far off, right? It's just by like 4 points, like let's call it 5 points. But in terms of order, it was able to actually order them exactly the same in all 3 examples. And apart from that, everything is insanely close, and I really think this is a pass, right? And for this one here, I'm curious why this was 79.1 when the rest was really close. I feel like this is something we can definitely fix by increasing the number of iterations that I just showed you guys here, right? Let me just refresh this to see the execution first. So let's see where we have. So 3 of them run in one of this workflow, I think, right? And here we have 53.7, okay, which is the 53.8 one. Then we have 90.5 for Jane, and then we have 7.86. And in this other execution, we have my resume, right? Let's see what happened here exactly. Again, we had a problem with the output parser, but that's not a problem since it's able to retry it on its own. That's the setting we have activated, right? And let's see what model may have actually switched the rating, right? I'm gonna look at that. So let's see. So let me click on aggregate. So we have 81, 81, and then 80, that's 76, 73.33, and then 83. In this case, it did kind of decide that my resume fits more to this job application. And even with that, it's not a huge difference, right? And when we look at the other scores here, it's just honestly mind-blowing in my opinion. I believe you guys think the same too. And actually, you know, just because of how close this is for you guys, I'm sure you guys would want me to do it also. I'm gonna actually run it one more time so that we can see what the result is. But this time I'm not gonna fast forward it. I will just show you directly what the result is going to be like. All right, guys, I just sent all the emails and it started executing. Let's see what the result is going to be. I'm honestly really excited, and at this 79.1 just bummed me up a bit, right? Even though it's not like far off, I still want the system to like fix its mistake and show me why it's worthy, you know? Okay, guys, so we just got 73 back. Let me refresh it to see if we have for the other candidates. Yeah, we got 73 back from my resume this time. Again, we'll look at the results if there are anybody that don't believe it, but you can see that this time it's much closer to the ones we had in the first 2, which basically makes it average closer to it anyway, right? And I feel like with this, it definitely rectified its mistake, and now I believe that it's worthy once again. But we'll see what's gonna happen with the rest of the resume, so really excited to see. Refresh this one more time, still processing. And all right, now we got one for John. The others are still processing, I believe, but it's taking a while though. Oh, we ran into an error in one of it. And apparently it's for Gemini. No, model output doesn't fit the required format. For some reason, Gemini failed with the output parsing. Let's take a look at what passed first. Okay, so we have mine and another one. So John's passed as well. And let me refresh just in case. But you can see here that we are 50, it got 53 again. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, honestly, ridiculous 100%. Look at this, 53.0, 53.8, 51.8, 53.3. Then we go 73, 79, 74, 74. Like, I'm like, look, I'm just mind blown, guys. I'm so sorry for being really excited here, but I'm contemplating if I should actually share it in the community or make a product out of it. But yeah, just kidding. I'm gonna be uploading it to the Skool community, or maybe this is just something normal, man. Like, I feel like I've seen so many things out there that doesn't work, that when I see something like this, it just got me excited. Like I said, I wasn't anticipating it to be nearly as good, right? But yeah, let's get these other two resumes executed as well. All right, guys, so I just sent the email and we got our execution running. Now let's just wait for these resumes to be processed and let's look at the result. But by this point, I'm just really confident, you know, but just for formality, let's just wait for it. All right, guys, so moment of truth. We got this one ready as well. Let's go to, all right, the table, and oh my God, bro, look at this, guys. 90.4, 9.1. Then what else? Like, at this point, like, what else do we want this? This is literally, remember when I said like the success criteria is if it's able to do what a human does? This literally does much better than a human, in my opinion. So I feel like a human should be tested against this system at this point. But yeah, like, I don't know why I got super excited. Again, just for doubters out there, I'm gonna refresh this to actually show that it's actually legit. Again, I know most of you are not, but there might be people who think that way, or I might be over exaggerating these results. Maybe this is something that it always happens and I don't know, right? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead to the summary, see 9.90.4, 9.13. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other workflow that passed for the other two just now. Okay, and then we'll go over here again, 53 and 73, and then we go down another one. Let's just look at the previous results as well, just to, you know, clear the air, make sure everything is out there. Now everything is crystal clear. And then another one, I just show this one as the final one here. So 79. Okay, yeah, there you go, guys. This is basically the system we have here at this point. I feel like it's really powerful. And I also created a way for you to actually create this table directly so that you don't have to do it manually. There's instructions here, you can just do that, right? And then you have Gmail here. This, by the way, you can connect to webhooks as well. From what I understood researching this using ChatGPT, it said applicant tracking systems have a way you can trigger webhooks where, let's say, if you're using LinkedIn and somebody sends their resume, it would be able to send it to this workflow and actually automate that part as well. So the entry point is totally up to you. But one thing I would want to know is if any of you here are working as recruiters, if you guys could actually test this workflow out and let me know down in the comments below how, or like you can contact me of how this is working, like how the performance of it, right? Here you can play around. Like I said, you can add different parameters here. But yeah, it's just super cool. But with that, let's just look at this beauty one last time. Like, look at this accuracy here. The only time that it failed, we have 16 records, right? 4 for each of these resumes. The only time I don't call it failure, but just a little bit off, was when this was 79. Like, our standard is so high that when we are not off, not even by exactly 5 points, but when you look at the rest, it's scarily same. Like, I honestly didn't expect it to be, like I said, it's fantastic. By the way, this professional URL here is empty for my PDF, my resume, because I didn't actually include it. That's the reason why it's actually empty, as you can see, right? Not a problem with the system. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. At this point, if you don't like and subscribe to my channel, I don't know what to say. Shame on you. Just kidding. But I'm gonna start with explaining to you guys this workflow here, and I'll try my best to explain the idea behind it and how I built it, so that you guys can follow the same thought process and understand what's really going on here, right? And without further ado, let's just get started with that. All right, so we have this company email here, right? Okay, and this is pretty simple. It's just a basic trigger, Gmail trigger, okay? And if you don't know how to use this, just go ahead, click on this hyperlink that says docs. It's gonna help you set up your account. I just create an event on message received, so we listen to the emails that get sent to our account, right? Like the one we saw just now. Then we have a filter that says only execute if it has an attachment. All right, once we do that, we go into our configuration node where we add the configurations. Again, the job description is here. It's what you want. It's the detail regarding this particular job opening or job listing. And then we have priority parameters, which, by the way, you can decide to add more fields into it in order to update the experience and the way the LLMs are going to grade these candidates, right? And here you can see we have technical skills, relevant worker experience, educational background, certification, location proximity, or work authorization. You can try playing around with this and see how it changes the grading. Actually, we could have done that as well. Like, what if we now tested with different ratings? But yeah, I'm not gonna do that since we already did 4 different times. I don't want to make this video really long, but I would love you guys to actually do it and tell me what the result is, right? And then we have number of iterations field. Here you can see the number is 2, so we are gonna, this basically says, hey, for each of the resume, I want each of these models here to run it twice, grade it twice, and then we'll get the average of the whole thing and come up with the final grading, right? And then we have this loop. This loop is for cases where, like we saw just now, an email when it listens every minute, right? And sometimes it can detect more than one email. In those cases, like again, the one we had, it will be processing them one by one in a loop. Then we got a binary extractor that just goes to this particular email and extract the binary data from the attachment. And this also, by the way, handles the cases where an email might contain more than a single attachment. Imagine somebody applies to your company, but they also put different kind of attachments there, maybe 2 PDF, 1 HTML, whatever. But of course, just we are only handling PDFs and HTML, right? If you want to be able to handle different kind of files, maybe Word document or anything, you'll have to expand this and extend it. But then, so this switch node here decides what type of data it is. Based on that, it routes the workflow. Then we got extracted data. We extract the data from the document, okay? Then we aggregate the document using summary by using concatenation, right? Concatenate the data. So in the cases where we have more than one attachment, we want to combine the files together. By the way, again, we're talking about the attachment within a single email. We're not talking about multiple emails, right? Each emails are going to be processed individually. I'm talking about an email with multiple attachments, just to clarify, to make sure, right? And then we got a classify attachment node. This node here is going to check whether or not the attachment or the email ultimately is related to the candidate application by specifying the category, right? If it's resume, then it's going to output that. If it's not, it's just no action required. We're not going to do anything, right? That those emails are just not going to be executed. Then we have the evaluator and optimizer pattern part, which we saw in the previous video on evaluator and optimizer pattern, which is absolutely beautiful. Even in this case, what we're doing here is we're extracting the resume data, okay? And then we're extracting these data in a structured format so that the next LLM, when we pass them the graders, when we don't have to care about different models being able to extract information for different kind of formats. So I just wanted to make it clear and structured for them, right? In this case, you can see we have a JSON feedback field at the bottom here. What this does is, actually, let me explain this in a bit once we get there, okay? So we have this here. This is basically extracting the data from the resume, and then its output is passed to an evaluator, which compares its output against the resume and see if there's any missing information. We have evaluation criteria here saying completeness, right? All essential information, like everything should be there. Accuracy, extracted data must accurately represent the original content, right? And no hallucination. Ensure no information is invented or assumed. So this is just there for like a guardrail where it's going to ensure data integrity. And the output format is going to be like the one below here. It's going to be in JSON format. It has 2 fields. In cases where it's failed, it's going to provide its feedback, right? If it's a pass, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to allow the workflow to proceed. But if it fails, it's going to say, hey, you forgot to mention this. I compared with the actual resume data. You didn't add this or whatever the feedback may be. And in those cases, we're going to go back into this feedback node, take the feedback and the current extracted resume by the resume data extractor and pass it back to the resume data extractor. And this time, this JSON feedback here is going to be populated, right? And we're going to pass it the feedback of the evaluator from the evaluator and the current extracted data, which it can refer to and compare against the feedback and re-output the extracted resume. And then we pass it to the evaluator. This time the evaluator will be like, okay, this is a pass. And yeah, we'll pass through this if function here, right? If node. And then this is where we have parallelization using the voting pattern. This time where we'll have the results or the judgment or the grading of all these three separate models combined and averaged, right? And let's take a look at this code node here. What this does is it basically checks the number of iterations that we passed into this configuration node, and depending on that, what it's going to do is it's going to create the number of objects within an array with the resume data. So if in our case it's number of iterations of 2, what it's going to do is simply create an array with 2 items, and each item or each object or element contains the resume data here, which is going to be used by our agents, right? So we get that data. All of these are the same, so I'll just explain one of it. I'll just go with the OpenAI resume. They are identical, right? Everything, the prompt and everything is identical. So we go to this guy here, we pass in the prompt user. This is called extracted resume. I could have actually made this better using the sections we saw just now, but anyway, let's go to the system message. So you can see that you are tasked with grading candidate based on the extracted resume provided below. Evaluate the candidate accurately. This is the part that's super cool. So we have priority parameters, the one we pass in the configuration node, right? And this is where we dynamically paste it into the prompt based on the key value. So you are able to dynamically update that, and this is going to be able to incorporate it dynamically and actually change its grading strategy based on what you specify. And then we go to scoring methodology. Okay, we are telling it, explaining to it the formula to use, what to follow in order to grade it based on the priority parameter. So if we provide a factor with higher number, it's gonna put more weight to it, and then it's gonna affect the overall score more compared to the rest. Okay, so we have example calculation, giving it an example. And then for consistency, this is what really helps also, right? We are telling it exactly like what the requirements are for it to decide how many points they got. And this is definitely something you need implemented in these kind of systems so that you can use it as a blueprint or a guideline or a framework to actually follow to make decisions, right? Then we got bias mitigations before finalizing your score, etc., and all of these things. Then we have an output structure telling it to output in this format here, an object with the score field and a reasoning field. Ensure your evaluation is detailed and justifies the grading with clear references to provided inputs, all right? And with that, we have this guy ready. What we have included as well is a calculator tool here for it to use. I didn't even specify anything. I just attached it there. If the model decides I want it to be agentic in that case, right? You know, it knows it has this tool. If it wants to use it, use it. It has the freedom, and I didn't manually write anything, right? And it works great. So I'm not going to change this. You guys can try to actually maybe tell it that there's this tool. You might want to use this whenever you do these calculations based on the formula I showed you guys. And we have a voting merge, basically just it merges all the outputs from all of these models, right? And now what the aggregate node does is basically just combines all of this together into an array of item or a list of items. And we use that in the summary node to actually create combined reasoning and average score, right? And then resume data, we pass it from the extractor, the extractor agent that actually extracted the resume, okay, so that we can use this. And then this data is passed to the distiller agent, and what the distiller agent does is it checks the candidate overall score, checks the combined reasoning and the resume data. This resume data here is going to be used for it to extract data like such as the first name, last name, email, professional URL, and so on. Then we have the system message, create a unified summary from combined reasoning by merging all key points into one clear, concise paragraph, right? And then we're telling it the things it should extract from resume data. And this is what I meant by sections just now, by the way. I could have done it for the other model as well, as this looks more professional. I learned this from Landgraph when I was working with their project. Super cool. Anyway, so please follow the following output format as the following here. So we got summary, first name, last name, email, phone, professional URL, etc. And that's what it does. So we got distilled output, right? And this is what it follows in terms of format. And finally, we just add it to our Airtable record, and voila, we have what we have here, which is honestly art in my eyes. This is just beautiful. And again, by the way, you can just get access to it through my community. It's free. You'll be able to see it here once I post this video. It's going to be at the top since it's going to be the latest video, right? And definitely join, guys. Like, we are building a community, a really cool community in my opinion, where people are actually engaging. I love every one of the people here who are actually, you know, trying to learn, trying to get better, giving me their opinions. I appreciate that. You can see here, this is when I actually mentioned about the new video series, like the one I filmed here, right? And then we have people who actually get involved and participate to give me their opinions. I respect these people. I'm gonna respond to these guys here. And yeah, man, just respect to all of you. Love you all. To our leaderboard legends, we have Max, Joe, Skip, Nuri, and Pascal, legends. But anyway, let's get back to the video. I mean, we don't have to really get back to the video. Maybe we can slowly wrap things up. For this, again, guys, if you don't know how to do it, just follow the guideline, right? There's this hyperlink that says docs. Click on that, just set the account and follow these guidelines here, and you'll be able to create a table, right? Super simple stuff. Once you're done with that, connect to this Gmail. I'm pretty sure most of you guys already have these ready, so you'll just be able to just click and create the table by following this simple thing and start running. And I'm also going to be including the test resume, okay, so that you guys can actually play around yourself. I'm not going to give my resume, just kidding, but yeah, I'll give these ones to you guys, and you can just tell ChatGPT to create one in HTML, and it does a really great job. So let's take a look at Alice, for example. This is her resume, and then all was created in one shot by ChatGPT, Jane Smith, and then John Doe. Yeah, and then there's this handsome guy here, Mom Custom, the beast, the best developer and legend. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just another shout out to these design patterns, by the way. Here, it's super cool, man. I love it, dude. But yeah, I'm getting overly enthusiastic here. Again, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. You can also like the video or write a comment, which really helps with the engagement. But with that said, guys, have a great day, take care, and enjoy using this workflow. Just kidding. Bye.